Board Games was a fresh new idea. I've been doing the nerd episodes for a while, and then it seemed like Board Games was just a totally new thing because a lot of people review video games, but nobody did board games. Not as often because I think like with video games, lots of people have emulators, and so almost anybody could do it. But with a board game, you have to have the board game. There's really no other way, and it's such a more tangible thing. Like having a physical game, you could actually film it yourself and film it from whatever angle you want. And it's really more like making a movie a little bit because the nerd episodes, it's mostly just, you're recording yourself playing the game. So it definitely brought a third dimension to everything, and that's what I really like.
And also, didn't it just start because you felt like making a video about Mousetrap? I think I remember you telling me.
Yeah, it was something else, because you know how we review all kinds of different things on the site. It was just a Cinemassacre board game review, Mousetrap. And I think when you drew the title card for that one, you put glasses on me, so I think you might even been thinking it was the nerd. I don't know.
Well, I remember thinking, like, immediately, James was like, I'm going to review Mousetrap, and then I saw the video, and James was almost done with it, and I thought to myself, wait a second, this has a lot of potential here because, there's so many franchise board games. There's Star Wars board games. There's Ninja Turtle board games. I'm like, you know what? This could become a series.
Yeah,
so I made
a character, and it wasn't a character in the first one.
Yeah, it was just kind of like the Simon's Quest video was just you. It wasn't a character.
Yeah.
So it was really had the same progression as the nerd.
Same thing as the nerd. The second episode is what brought the character on. So Dragon Strike was actually a game I always wanted to play. As a kid, I played it a lot, but because it took so much imagination and it was kind of involved, it intimidated a lot of people. So a lot of my old friends would either get bored or they don't want to play the game. So that kind of thing we put into the videos.
It's a good series because it started out as you just reviewing board games, and then as it went on, you took it in different directions. Where I come in and it becomes almost like a slapstick kind of thing,
or a sitcom or something.
Yeah, exactly. And what's different also about the board game series from Angry Video Game Nerd, Angry is in his name, it's in the title of the thing. And then board games, you could just actually seriously review the games and get funny with
board games doesn't have to be angry.
Let the games be funny or as bad as they are. Just let it speak for itself. I think, did you have that in mind when you were starting the board games thing? Was that almost like were you trying to get away a little bit from the angry
I think so. It really was like kind of just a side project, like an escape, because it's just like I was kind of doing the same thing with that character, and I was like, I want to do something else where I don't have to be angry. I could just do whatever I want to do, and that's what I really love about those, that I love that they're more like movies. They're a lot shorter than the nerd episodes. I feel like there's not as much pressure. I don't have to go into every detail of the game. A lot of it's more like just reenacting those old commercials that we watched. Because there's always that part in the video where we go into a montage, and it's really like editing a music video, which is...
it's like the Crossfire video.
Yeah.
The first one, right? That you guys really did with the montage and everything?
Yeah, and to get into like these guys' characters with... Mike, we just kind of like...
That was actually the first video I was ever in, was that Crossfire video, as far as not being some sort of character like the Joker or Bugs Bunny or anything like that.
You started with like Jason Voorhees had a mask on, and then like by the time you got to the Klingon and the Joker, you had makeup on, so you kept getting down to your face more. And Crossfire was, it was the first time ever on the site, I think you showed your face.
We were having a conversation, I remember, like, we're just going to call you, like, Mike, or we're going to come up with, like, a name, or I was like, I don't know what to do, and then you were like, let's just call you Motherfucker Mike, and I'm like, all right, that sounds good, or whatever, so you came up with the name Motherfucker Mike, actually.
Yeah, because you're playing a game, you're like, you motherfucker, it's just kind of, it's something you call your friends.
Right.
And that's another thing, is that we wanted it to be, like, all about things that happen to you when you're playing games as a kid, and everybody always had that friend that cheats all the time, so that's what...
And that was perfect for me, because I cheat a lot in real life, too. So.
Yeah. and most of these games are really ones that I actually played as a kid. So a lot of times whenever there's something happens in the video, that really happened in real life. Like at the end of the Hero Quest video, when at the end when you're like, I don't feel like playing this, that's just like in real life. I had friends who just, somebody's mom might have called them in for dinner or something, or something like that. And Battle Masters, that was one where we all just gave up because we you open up the game and it's so awesome, and then you start setting up all the pieces and everything, and you got to put little stickers on, stick the flags.
By the time you set it up, you're tired. You're ready to go get something to eat and go to bed.
And you keep having to make more room. You have to keep getting more space to set it up, and finally it's just like, okay, that's enough.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned, a lot of these games you played when you were a kid.
Yeah.
Tornado Rex was a game that was my favorite game as a kid, and that was the birth of my involvement in board games.
Yeah.
Like, I got to be in this video.
Yeah.
Like, this is my favorite game. I had to contribute somehow to this. Whether it's the music or something, I had to be a part of this Tornado Rex thing. It was my favorite game.
Yeah.
You were kind enough to let me.
Okay.
And we went in there, recording the Tornado Rex video, not knowing who I was, what my character was going to be. I remember, like, as the cameras were set up, we still didn't know what we were doing. Mm-hmm. As far as I went, we had Motherfucker Mike, who was like a cheater, and then we had to figure out what kind of character I was going to be. And we just came up, kind of on the spot. I fucked everything up, and I'm like, it was like that goofy kid. He's kind of like sympathetic, where you hate him, but you can't totally hate him, because he means well. Yeah. And I think, from what I remember, at least, that's what we came up with on the spot. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then we didn't. I remember. I don't think we had an ending to Tornado Rex until we were filming it. We were trying to do it.
Tornado Rex, there was something about that. It was so short and sweet, just so simple and to the point, and the song was really catchy. And one of the great things about that was that we never heard the real song. There actually is a real song. I'm glad we didn't see that commercial first, because
there was one song. I just want to mention there was one song before that in the Crossfire video. Recorded, which
that was
great,
Lachlan Barclay. He recorded that for us, and that's basically that's a cover of the Crossfire commercial.
Yeah, and I thought that was really cool. And then you sort of made that. That was actually the first music video.
Well, that's the thing. It's like we would have probably covered the old song, but thankfully we didn't hear it, so we came up with our own original song. Well, that was all you.
For Tornado Rex.
Yeah, for Tornado Rex, yeah. And I remember when you first sent me the song, I was like, oh, listen to this, check it out. And I just loved all those different things that happened in it, like, that gave me a chance to edit more, like the part where the devil calls your name, and I put the Tornado Rex devil up on the screen, and like there were things that there was so much potential to edit with, and it's such a catchy song too. So
I knew I had to write it, and I asked you, I'm like, how long should it be? And you said, well, the guy who did the Crossfire thing. Mm-hmm. What was it like? It might have been a little too long.
I think I gave him, because I'm starting to learn better how to direct people with music, because it's like when you're editing, unless you have it already cut up, because you want to cut to the music. You kind of want the music there to kind of dictate the timing of what you want to put in there. But you still have to have an idea of how much footage you have. And with Crossfire, it was just a guess. I was like, okay, well, how about 2 minutes? And then I found out I didn't really have that. I was using every scrap of footage I had to fill those 2 minutes. So with Tornado Rex, I think we had it closer to what we thought was necessary.
So from that point on, it's always been just like 1 minute. Just gonna be like, you'd always just 1 minute song, and that's fine. That'll be good for a montage. Mm-hmm. Doesn't want to go like on too long.
Yeah.
And usually in like the late '80s, early '90s, these commercial songs were like overly aggressive, or they try to make these
like power ballad.
Yeah, it's like this fast guitar and like this singer who's like hitting falsetto, and like it's for this game made of like cardboard and plastic and glue. It's like nothing. It's just like a game. Yeah. But then you see these kids like in the jungle.
Yeah.
Just imagine like
Fire by a Law.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, I think.
Yeah, you're like, in reality, it's like a couple of kids like playing
in
the basement.
All right, my turn.
Yeah.
All right, spin the wheel.
These kids like think they're gonna be in the jungle playing with Tornado Rex, or they're in their parents' basement as their parents are like getting drunk upstairs or something. Who knows? But like, so there's always like this fake like kind of pretense with these songs, these commercial songs, and I wanted to go over the top with it.
Yeah.
With Tornado Rex, I knew. I tried to imagine what if it did have a commercial, what the song would be, and I thought it'd be like this distorted guitar and this like fake kind of metal, and I took it like a little further,
And it does have a commercial, but we didn't
it
find
does.
that out until
Afterwards, and I heard it. It's funny because I heard the other song, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. My song's actually better than this. You know, I'm like, oh, man. It's like some stupid, like, tornado rains. It's like so bad. That's why I never took off. That's why obscure game. They needed me to write the song
exactly,
for. Big mistake.
And then Dream Phone, a lot of people, every time I show somebody that video, they're like, oh, I didn't remember this song. I'm like, that's because it wasn't written. Everybody thought that was a real song. They're like, oh, real. And then when they see the credit come up at the end, it's like, oh, I thought that sounds just like it's from the 80s. I didn't know that if that was like.
But there's a line in there, something about like sleeping in the bed or something, which obviously wouldn't be in the commercial.
That's funny you mentioned that.
I mean,
because I remember when I did the Tornado Rex video, he said, can you drop like something like an F-bomb in there or something so people will realize by the end that it's not the actual commercial song,
Rex one,
right? Like, you wanted some kind of separation from the Tornado Rex song, so that's why it ends with like you better fucking abide. Dream Phone, I don't drop like any profanity, but there's a line in it. It's like he's gonna make my dreams come true. My bed has room enough for two. Yeah. It's like kind of like, you know, perverted. Like,
exactly.
Like, you know, what, 12-year-old, 13-year-old girls, and it's like this,
I know.
Sexual innuendo or whatever. And it's funny too, because when you look at the comments, people are like, what the fuck is this song? And people are like offended by it.
They think it's like a real song.
Yeah, they thought it was real. A lot of things, like a lot of the videos we were talking about, like we kind of come in with like the ones that I'm in at least, we come in with like a basic idea of what we're going to do, but there's no really set script. Yeah. A lot of it is made up on the spot, and, you know, we just roll with the punches. One of those videos is Shark Attack. I remember you did write a script, and it called for us to be outside on the beach, which would have made it, a great video. The aesthetics of it, I even got like that old Victorian bathing suit and the mustache and everything. But we only had one day to film, and you came to the Jersey Shore, and there was a huge storm raining, and there was just absolutely no way we could do it.
There was a tornado. There was a tornado.
That's right.
We did. Real tornado. Yep.
Tornado Rex.
Yep.
And so then we had to kind of roll with the punches and come up with a different ending, and just kind of write it on the go. Yeah. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, sometimes it works better than others, but it's kind of fun to live on like a high wire like that. And just kind of trust yourself and, you know, try to make best with what you have.
Mr. Bucket was the first Board James epic, where that video, I remember I worked on that for an entire month. It took me a month of just doing that video and nothing else. Whereas Dream Phone, actually, which came later, took many months because we kept taking a break and going back to it. It was just the idea of, I mean, the commercial was so funny to begin with. We wanted to do something that parodied the commercial, but I always thought, well, what if Mr. Bucket was a like horror character and he's stalking Board James? So that was really the first time it was a like horror episode, and then Dream Phone was sort of just like a sequel to that, basically. But Mr. Bucket was a really hard one to shoot because the bucket doesn't move like that. I had to, really what it does, it goes backwards in a circle, and there's two wheels on the back, and one wheel has one part that's flat, so every time it gets to the flat part, it kind of, you know, turns itself. So it just goes in a circle. So what I had to do was put a bunch of duct tape and different pieces of things at the bottom to get the wheel rounded so that it would keep going backward, and then I would reverse it. But for every shot, I had to adjust it because sometimes I wanted the bucket to come out like at an angle. So whenever I did that, basically it would widen the circle. So instead of him doing a circle like this, he would do this really wide one. So I would just get this great turn, and I'd have to do take after take after take until the bucket did what I wanted.